Welcome to SpeakEasy Online. It's November 2021, and we have a small, valiant group tuned in to share some exciting stuff. A couple of apologies. Mark Griffiths sends his apologies this evening, but says hello to everybody. And George also sends his apologies. He's away on a course this week. Yes, sends greetings and best wishes. Just a few notices. Well, one really. We've got the event happening with John Hegley in Carlisle on the 9th of December. And that's in part with Gene Hill's folk experience. And it's at the RAOB club in Carlisle. And I don't know, are you all signed up already? I don't know. We're limited to the number of seats on the Eventbrite app, but I emailed out info. But if you do want a reminder, just drop me a line and I can let you know. I think it's
signed up and excited.
Oh, fab. I think there's over 40 people signed up already, I think, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, all being well, should be on the 9th of December. That's until the government give us any new COVID regulations, but all right. There was a little workshop online on Sunday afternoon. A friend of mine, Chuck, who I know through the Unity festivals, and he'd got in touch with some people, or Reforesting Scotland had got in touch with him about doing an online poetry workshop exploring the themes that come out of COP26. And this is one of the poems I came up with for that, and it's called Questions of Our Age, and it goes like this. COP26, some say, has been a disappointment. Do our leaders just fight and panic whilst our planet's temperature rises by those dangerous few degrees? There seems to be a disconnect between world leaders and reality. Our world is fragile. But if we stop the damage, might the earth be able to revive itself through nature's power of rejuvenation? And that's it. Thank you. So yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty, but some hope, I think, We'll see what happens. Okay, Jeanette, what have you got for us?
Okay. Story. Will that be all right for a change? I'm really, really chuffed and honoured to have some work in Southlight 30. And this is a short story from there. But I've got to say thanks to Darren Harper, because this is a short story that was written from a prompt from his online workshop earlier this year. So it's called More Than One Way. Her mouth was stiff but held promise. Her eyes were tired but looked up. Shutters were down, her hometown blurred behind her. Turning the end of her first and last cigarette under the sole of her crimson patent stiletto, she blew smoke at the industrial, turned on her heel and walked, just walked. She'd always had order, followed rules as a child, throughout school, throughout work, throughout life. Her clothes were always uniform. Precise makeup and stiff hairstyles had been imposed on her. Powder caked, lost laughter lines, her collar was sharp and her toes permanently curled. She needed order to know what to expect. Losing a job that morning was an overwhelming jolt. Crumbled to her core, she worried what others would think, especially her father. Her manager was cruel. She'd accepted that all along. Lost in her days, she walked out and onwards. The envelope she'd been clenching in her coat pocket was warm now. The paper turned to felt, her last wage, a blow to a new destination. The confident rhythm of her heels on a platform chiselled away at her doubts. At the whistle of a train, she undid her coat button and boarded. The scent of her carriage was unfamiliar, the view from its window unknown. Turning away from her reflection, she stiffened at the sight of a past passenger's discarded sandwich bag, then watched it roll with the lull of the train. Tightly balled, the wrapper released a little. She only heard a few of the journey's announcements. She was content where she was. She'd sense when the time was right, then she'd alight. The guard made his usual sweep of the train at the end of his shift, picked up the same old litter and cleared away the discarded. He was somewhat bemused, however, to spot a pair of red high-heeled shoes lying unscuffed, yet splayed casually under a table. Picking them up, easing himself up from his knees, he caught sight of himself. The rest of his night would be troubled by what he saw beside his reflection. There, on murky glass, with only the dark as their background, were the thick, smudged, broken red words. The highly polished lipstick casing was found rolling around along the arm next day. Its lid lay in the bin of an unknown station, along with twisted hairpins and a crumpled empty wage packet. Untethered from constraint, she would no longer follow the path of man's social construct. She would journey in the opposite direction to the arrows, barefoot yet bearable. And that's that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's quite dark, you know.
With a touch of red.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, powerful story that. Yeah. I'm glad it got in the magazine. It should have done.
Me too. Thank you.
Cool. Well done. Okay, Roz, follow that.
I haven't done this for a few weeks, can't remember how to do it. Thanks, Jeanette. You're really good with stories. Always.
Thank you. You're very good. Thank you.
Lost my poem now. Oh my goodness. Right. I've only written one since last Wednesday, and it was one day last week when I was stood in the garden. It just made me feel quite nice. So I called it Glittering Autumn Leaves. Clearing up the rapidly falling leaves of autumn, who in their colourful death throes litter the pathways. The wind strengthens. I hear it coming like a train rushing through the treetops, shaking their branches like a child shakes a snow globe, where I, like the tiny figurine in the centre, stand transfixed, watching with childlike wonder as I'm suddenly surrounded by a swirl of golden leaves, falling like glitter to the ground. That was nice. It was a special little moment, just stood on the path with all these leaves. It was lovely.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's like, yeah, you captured that brilliantly. That sort of sense of wonder and the, yeah, like a snow globe, isn't it, with leaves? Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Kelly, what do you have?
Right. Well, I'm keen to read poems from Glory Days, my new pamphlet written with Kerry Derbyshire, who's a poet from around Kendal. And they're poems on the theme of motherhood and women's experience at different stages of life. And I think I'll follow on from Jeanette and Roz by reading a poem called The Change, because they've both read us poems about changes, but this is the change which women of a certain age go through. Lying like a starfish on a sweaty bed, toes reaching desperately for a patch of cool sheet, it comes to me that the long-awaited change is finally occurring. It's actually been sneaking up for quite a while, that sense of brittleness, the unfamiliar aches and pains, the last gasp sexual appetite. Maybe that is why so many women go slightly mad, have drastic plastic surgery, take young lovers. Nature urges us to spend the last sweetness of our bodies when the world just wishes we would go quietly.
I don't know if I can say anything about that.
Yeah, it's probably one that women relate to more than men.
Well, you definitely conjured up. You conjured something up there, which, yes, one can
Yeah,
empathize with.
yeah.
Okay, Kevin, do you have something?
This is one, I think, I can't remember whether the last time I think I read it out was at the symposium 2 years ago, whenever it was in Tully House. The lettering's a bit smaller than I'm used to nowadays, and that's my problem. But I'd like to read it. It's quite long, actually. So I'll try and read it slowly so I can try and keep the essence of it intact. It's called Dr. Blake's Visit. And I think the important thing for me anyway is that it was the longest thing I'd done. And then the COVID thing kind of interfered with my where I was in what I was trying to do. And, everything I think has changed totally, because you look back on pre-COVID works and you think, yeah, I was somewhere else then. So I'm going to try and read it anyway. Dr. Blake's Visit. See, you've had your tea, Godfrey. Didn't wait for me, I see. Cake. Gone too, I see, Madge. How could you? Never mind. She can leave and we can continue. Things. We continue things in silence. Silence demands our attention. Nurse has been, no doubt, Alice, I believe. Reports to me once a week, come rain or shine. Take our time, missing nothing out. Critical mass, that's what matters. Dig down deep. Surface action when it's needed. Read the journal front to back. Make a breakthrough, then move on. Prove myself in the end. Not here, of course. Much too slow. Action, that's what we need. City life, up to speed. Godfrey Smith, written large. Cake, all gone? How can you? Your condition begs my sympathy. My notes, my notes, say nothing of your plight, that bring to mind a remedy. Seaside pleasures stir the mind and bring forth happy days gone by. I'll make a note of this. Alice too, together we can play the game and make you well where in your mind you dwell. Failed seaside pleasures may require a touch of fantasy where vaudeville engages, fun and frolics, laughter and hysterics. The mind is a sticky bag of tricks, needs more than old solutions. Daytime, watching on TV, can leave you less than human. Godfrey Smith, a journalist, Afghanistan I see, reporting on the front line where others cannot be. And now, alas, your only world is of a coloured screen. Time for us to change all that. Another point of view. Upstairs with the older group, sharing recollections, overlooking factories steeped in dereliction, a Venice for the working man in times gone by of yesterday. Beauty, beauty overwhelming in the eye of the beholder. Coal black skies of mustard hue, impressionistic splendour. Reportage must have favoured you to send you to lands so far away. A written word, columns long, describing all the carnage, breaking news, a thrill to all, presented through the media. My skills have been in human minds, fathoming their behaviour. Freudian passion, subterranean, fills my working day, classifying all I see in minds so changed by ageing. Like journalists, such as you, a war not to be engaged in. Taking sides is not a choice of favour of this or that. I dread the thought that would be mine in circumstances pervading. But here you are, Mr. Gregory Smith. Your columns everlasting, at least until the time arrives when your views are ever fading. The floor above is purpose-built of concrete, glass and steel, reflecting such modernity that we all know so well. An ancient vision, seeping strength of human frailty, so that time for us will do the job and kindly let them go. I will tick the boxes where it matters, where it counts, action, what is needed. To change your life for just one day, to better judge the outcome. No point moping, no regret, freedom at a premium. My day is done when all of this is computed to my laptop. Makes its way with the speed of light for further speculation. I will return, if I am able, a new position pending. Raw ambition, not my style, at least in public discourse. Promotions to a higher rank would focus my direction. In times like this, there is a need for national introspection. Politics are less than just in places such as this. It's not for me to make the case that they should so exist. That's it. Thank you.
Hey, can I just ask you something, Kevin? Did
Yeah.
you mentioned a journalist called Godfrey Smith?
Yeah.
I was at school with his daughter in
No,
London.
but I made his
Amanda.
name up. Was
Oh,
he a real
really?
journalist?
Oh,
Was
because
he?
there was, yeah, he was editor of the Sunday Times magazine at one
Oh,
point.
great. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Did he go to
I just
Afghanistan?
I thought maybe you'd known him or something.
No,
He's quite famous.
he's quite fictional in my brain.
Ah, I thought, gosh, this is such a small world. How come Kevin knows Godfrey Smith?
Wow.
That's a great story. I love it.
The power of the imagination.
Oh, that's brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay.
Kevin, did you want to talk about
Oh, yeah.
Susan Allen's
Yeah,
writing?
yeah. We have a writing group, or Susan Allen from Wordsworth Trust. She's the outreach worker for the officer for the Wordsworth Trust. And in fact, it was through Susan Allen that I started writing poetry, more or less 2.5 years ago, or 3 years. And we held at most of the meetings that I've been to in the past were at All Saints in Fletchertown. But the last two, have been at May's Tea Room in Oldale, and we've had other things there, which Susan has been instrumental in bringing about, which is mainly a weather project. 2 years ago, say. And the next gathering is on Friday at 1:30 to 3:30 in May's Tea Room in Oldale. And it's a really nice venue. It's an art gallery as well as a tea room. And it's probably about, I think there was about 10 of us there last week. No, sorry, last month. So it's once a month. And if you wanted to contact Susan Allen, I've got her email handy, which is, if not, you can still maybe contact Phil, because Phil will have it. But it is this is all lowercase, s.allen@wordsworth.org.uk. That's Susan Allen. That's it for now. But yeah, it'd be great, because there's some, nice people come along, and it's very. I did suggest at the last one. I said, be nice if I brought one of my paintings along, and maybe we could just write some bits and pieces about it. And then Sue took that up, and so in the if you wanted to get the email from Sue, she decided that it would be good if everybody bought something. It could be an object or whatever, as a basis to look at and maybe write a few lines about. So I'm quite pleased with that, because I think it'd be quite nice to do, a really nice exercise, if you like. So that's what I'm going to be doing on Friday.
Fantastic.
It sounds really good. Unfortunately, I'm busy this Friday, but it's good to know about it for the future. Yeah.
Does it always take place during the day, Kevin?
It does,
Is it
yeah.
always on a weekday? Yeah, it's just because I work full time. I would love to come along, but could just do with full-time wage on a part-time basis.
That's good, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for giving us the heads up on that, Kevin. And yeah, Susan Allen's been really supportive of a number of events that
yeah, very much so.
been involved in. So yeah, it's cool. All right. We'll go around again. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes before we have to sign in again. this is a second poem from the little workshop we did on the weekend with Reforesting Scotland. And this was a poem based around the theme of hope, despair, and thinking about the future. And each of us came up with a word, and we used all the words in the poems. And this one's called Hope versus Despair. Equality needs addressing to resolve this global crisis. Where is the justice in people's suffering? Weren't we taught to care? Where is that spirit of humanity? A belief in making sacrifices of fossil fuels, each of us doing our bit to help fellow humankind. But not just for people, animals, plants, life that has no vote. For this world would show its gratitude if we were to dare to act, and act now. And that's that one. Thank you. Just there was a lot of. It was just after they'd announced that new agreement from COP26, and there was a lot of emotional responses to to the whole subject matter, as you can imagine. So, yeah, I think everybody wants there to be a good outcome, but I just think we've still got a way to go as a planet to agree on that.
I thought, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, there was someone made a really interesting comment on one of the radio programs about, the COP, and oh, I know what it was. It was feedback, and someone was saying that, like the word "cop" is something nobody would respond to, but she was talking about the BBC basically in fronting the idea of all the things that we've been, that have obviously come out of COP. But one thing stuck in my mind, and it was that too much emphasis used in terms of ordinary journalism about, or whatever, broadcasting and whatnot, talking about saving the planet. And she said, the planet that it's saving, it's whether it's suitable for humans and for animals. And I thought that is quite true.
Yeah.
Even if there was nothing on the planet, there'll be a planet.
Absolutely.
It's tackling it from that perspective. Maybe we should teach that in the schools to start with, not whether we're trying to save this planet, because we won't.
Yeah, I've got a piece, I could probably read it later on, about, yeah, absolutely that point. The planet will go on in some shape or form, but if we're not careful, we will make it impossible for ourselves to live on that planet and take most of the rest of life as we know it with us.
Yeah.
It's a gloomy thought, isn't it?
My daughter, one of my daughters lives in British Columbia, and she was not very far from where the temperatures reached 48.9 degrees.
Oh, nice.
And now, in the same area, a bit further south, where they've had these horrendous floods, and that is scary, to go from that, and it's still the same area, basically, go from being the hottest on the planet to suffering these massive landslides, all brought on by rain in recent weeks.
It just shows you the extremes, and they are happening, and you can't deny that.
Yeah, the extremes. Happening.
And it can't be a coincidence that they're happening more frequently all around the world. I mean, it seems pretty obvious to why they're happening. So, yeah. Okay. Janetto, with you.
Oh, Right, this is based on a true story. We went to Worthy Farm camping this year for our holiday, and we went into Glastonbury town, and this actually happened on a walk up the Tor. But it's a work in progress, so I would appreciate any feedback if there's bits missing. It's called Sound Healer, It's Where You're Meant to Be. I tread and rise 518 feet to a 360-degree view. Dizzied on the Tor, high above the flat, I'm drawn to a steadying stone in a tower, where echoing winds rush through the walls, till a barefooted pilgrim with weather-worn skin walks in, opposite, settles his staff, and with uplifting words points his chin high to the square ceiling of sky. Held by his chanting, I watch the clouds clearing, feel the clouds clearing. Still time at Avalon. And that is right. Thank you.
Oh, I like that a lot, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. And I remember as a child going to Glastonbury with my family, and one of my little brothers ran up the hill and went into the tower at the top. And I think there was someone tripping in there. He'd taken all sorts of substances. And my little brother didn't know what to make of it. I think he was only about 5 or something. And he came racing back down. So, there's a funny man in there.
Yeah, well, it was weird. I just thought I need a seat because I just felt dizzy. It was a magnificent view. So I just sat in the tower on my own, and then this gentleman walked in with his bare feet and he put his stuff down and had a bit of a chat. And then he said, it's where you're meant to be. And then he just pointed his head up, started chatting, and I was just sat there, just totally transfixed. But another gentleman joined him. He took his staff and he started chanting as well. But there was just the 3 of us in there. So when I got up to go, it was just like an audience of people outside the tower because they didn't join him.
That's brilliant.
There were some
it did feel quite special.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was the same person all those years later.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of connections going on here tonight.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I was going to read one of my depressing sort of climate change poems because that seemed to be the theme, but I don't want to bring the mood down too much. So I'll read another little one that I wrote the other day. It was for a writing group I'm in, and we were given the prompt Forgotten Corner. And this is what I wrote. I went to look under the sink where you used to hide in your pajamas, red slippers just visible under the curtain, face pink with the effort of holding in giggles that threatened to explode. No sign of your hidey hole now. We bought a washstand years ago. Your mischievous dark eyes nowhere to be seen. I turned my back, counted to 100, and 20 years vanished. Thanks.
Yeah,
It's just magical, brilliant. Yeah.
I think we all have memories of if you've had a child who's grown up, you know, you suddenly get that image of them as a little one, don't you?
Definitely. Yeah, little red jammers for our Rebecca. Yeah.
cool. Thank you very much, Kelly. Roz, do you have another one for us? Oh, you're on mute there, Roz. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm there now. I've just been and got my book because I thought you could ask them old ones. I was going to read the same ones as I read on Wednesday because I've watched a few of these and there's never anybody from Wednesday night except for Phil been there. This time it's 50% of the audience. So I thought I'll read old ones because you have forgotten them even if you had heard them. I was looking through the other day and I found this one. It's called A Simple Rhyme. Perhaps I'm a literary fraud who writes rhymes that leave people bored, probably because the rhymes I choose are the easiest ones to use. Though my poems are soporific, I'm alarmingly prolific. I can always think of a rhyme to fit any event or time. Whatever circumstance I'm in, I can always come up with something, but that small imperfection could indicate misdirection. And though this rhyme's written simply, it's really a poem about irony. And I'll leave you to guess if I'm clever or stupid.
There's wisdom in them words. Thank you very much, Roz. Really good. Kevin.
Sorry, I got the wrong one. The one I was going to read. Snapshots. You've heard this one, I think, Phil. Anyway, snapshots. Crumpled, faded, no name, no date. A fashion of sorts in a place unknown. A beach, a wave of a hand held high. A pier, a boat and shingle. I've seen that place. I'm sure I have. Not too sure as time goes by. Second glance, another look. It cannot be. It isn't me. It isn't mine, that place of known. That man, that boy and family. Another crumpled, faded heap. That stare so silent, gravely sad. New look fashions, wilting flowers, joining hands in sympathy. Babies' pushchairs, uncles' arms. Proud parents, passing hours and weeks, as clicks record and senses smiles. Sorry, as clicks record and lenses smile, a destiny that now I see. Lily, Elsie, George, and Joe, the motor on a distant hill. Frank can fix it. Yes, he can. He's good at that. I know he will. Frank's shadow, steady in the sand, clicks again, once again, an album scene. I closed the box. I closed the door. Their lives lay bare for me to see, and a witness to their end of faded views, their legacy. That's snapshots. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. Yeah, great stuff. I found that poem I'd written about the planet. It's in Poetry for Purpose.
Oh, right.
And it's called Re-Evolution, and goes like this. The planet is changing. This is seemingly too big a responsibility for humankind. We turn a blind eye to the change. We try to carry on as if nothing is happening. Instead, we argue about legalities of trade. How will we trade, and for how much? We are missing out on two vital factors. One, just what will we be able to trade and with whom? In the coming years, the environment will change such that current crop yields will not be sustainable. Livestock and farming will suffer as a result. Food will become scarce. Drinkable water, clean water, may become resources that are harder to find. Conflicts could arise over water and food supplies. There is a finely balanced ecosystem in which we find ourselves. But if pollinating insects and other species continue to disappear, aka die out, things will become irreversible. As with global temperature rises, 1 or 2 degrees may not sound like much, but try finding your way around the world with just a map and a compass, which may be out a degree or 2. And pretty soon you could be way off your predicted target and find yourself in a dangerous situation. The planet doesn't care what happens to us. Extinctions come and go. Species come and go. Whereas the dinosaurs met with a meteor, our extinction could be self-inflicted. We could take much of the other life on Earth with us. If we fail to act in time or not makes no difference to the planet. Time is a human construct. The universe works in cycles, revolutions around planets' axes, revolutions around stars, and we are but a blink in the eye of geological time. Famine, drought, death await down the path of extinction. And who will care about trade then? Nobody. Survival will be the only aim. Who will care about who was right? Nobody. Who will care about kings and queens? Nobody. Who will care about the banks? Nobody. Who will care about GDP? Nobody. Who will care about Twitter? Nobody. And who will care about books and plays? Nobody. Who will care about art and music if there is nobody there to see or hear it? Who will care about the talking apes who came and thought they were being civilized and instead watched the rainforests burn and did nothing? They scarred this world, this paradise, butchered and ravaged this earth, and in doing so doomed themselves and all other life. Civilizations rise and fall. Species come and go. Are we just part of a cycle? Or are we going to act and save our home while we still can? Maybe we can reteach ourselves. There you are. Not exactly jolly, but there you are. Thank you. I think the last time I read that was in the middle of Carlisle City Centre for the Great Big Green Week.
Yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. But as you said before, Kevin, it's the planet itself, this third rock from the sun, will carry on, but it's just if we mess up the atmosphere and the habitats for everything else, it's gonna mean the end of an age for us and everything else that lives on the planet. But in a few million years, there might be something else come along.
One of the things that strikes me or makes me think about it's the Olympic Games we had in 2012, and we started our opening ceremony with all these bloody great supposedly smokestacks, but we presented them to the world as though we'd made this incredible contribution to civilization and mechanization. I forget his name, the guy who designed it.
Danny Boyle.
Danny, is it Danny Boyle?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it was clever, no doubt about it. It was clever because it came out of nowhere like mushrooms. But I just think, can we carry on making that claim that it was, it was something we should be proud of, when in fact, out of the COP thing, the not demands, but I suppose they are demands from the countries that are affected, 50 of them, that could vanish beneath the waves in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
They need reparation. They don't want charity. They want reparation from us so-called civilized people that created all this, what's gone on now, and still will go on for probably another 50 years by the look of it. You know, in terms of, can we reduce it? Will technology change everything? Can we actually strive for that technology to capture, you know, the carbon? I don't know, but I think the only thing that comes out of COP, I think at the moment anyway, is that, you know, at least it's an annual thing. I didn't know this, it was annual, but obviously the one is in Egypt. So each one that comes along will measure our own failings or successes. But
Yeah.
what is happening, and it happened only yesterday, was handing down prison sentences to people who protested. And a lot of them are elderly people. They are, you know, have been sent to jail for protesting in their own way to draw the attention of just ordinary people to how serious the thing is. I think there must be other forms of protest. I would have preferred something else than closing motor, to be honest. But I think things will happen like that in the future.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, Kelly.
I've got to go in a minute, but I've got another tiny poem. If I can jump the queue, if
Yeah.
it's on the theme, on the theme that we're talking about. So it might depress you all, but it is on theme.
Oh, please do.
Okay. Autumn 2021. Walking the coastal path, damp leaves underfoot, gulls circling overhead. I wonder how many autumns we have left. Will they run out like a person's heartbeat? And how will we know when we reach the last autumn? What will happen to the new life so safely stored if spring never comes? I'll leave you with that depressing thought.
That's powerful, Kelly.
It's what we're all feeling, I suppose, at the moment, isn't it? Anyway, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time. All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care. Wow, that's something to think about, isn't it? Ooh. What if spring never came? I am hopeful that these talks will sort of bang the heads of the major governments around the world together, and they will get something together in time. But I think individuals feel very helpless that, you know, we've been trying to recycle plastic bottles for 20 years, and then Boris goes and says it doesn't make any difference. Well, if we do our bit, why doesn't he do his bit and, you know, put pressure on the coal industry and the fossil fuel industries to convert to greener things, and the government, you know, lead by example? Why aren't they all driving electric vehicles and things being ferried around Whitehall? I don't know. I don't know. Shall we get another poem from Janetto?
Yeah, I was just thinking, even by example, he doesn't even wear a mask, does he?
Oh, well, he's a very poor example.
Yeah. Right, this loosely follows on in a way, in it, be careful what you throw out. And it's called Maturing Wine. Discarded, a withering grape, chucked into a gleaming bin. As the lid closes, she catches her reflection, smooths the cheek of an almost raisin, part way to vintage, hidden yet hopeful to wear, full-bodied, savoured. spring-like with autumn warmth, charged in a glass and not discarded. That is that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really lovely. Excellent. Good stuff. Okay, and Roz, do you have another one for us?
Not in particular, but I've got lots.
Hey.
I think I better have something silly now because we're getting too serious here.
I know we're all getting a bit apocalyptic. Oh.
Yeah, I read that on a SpeakEasy, so I don't want that. I should have something that I read ages ago because then hopefully nobody will be here that remembers it. Oh my goodness, not far too many. Maybe somebody else should go first. Oh, I've got this one.
Oh, good.
This is beeswax wraps, which is basically on the same theme anyway. We might as well have that. Right. Corporate ideas creep by stealth, conflated with the notion of planetary health, images of poverty and perceptions of wealth displayed in the way we portray the self. Our purchases reflect the self-image we've made, all of our values conspicuously displayed. Now, our notions of the good life seem to fade, challenged by the young who feel betrayed. Our cheap way of living starts to collapse into piles of plastic, forming where the sea laps. When we look for answers to fill the gaps, we spend all our money on beeswax wraps. Just a comment on rich people trying to assuage their guilt, I suppose, by doing things. All a bit sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but you get your finger on the pulse of these issues, Roz. It's great, really good. Thank you very much. Okay, Kevin, do you have another piece, Kevin?
This was done in, I wrote this, it was earlier this year. Called Age. Age-related, careless words, not in my curriculum that I know. Relative to descriptions that over time weave the fabric of our lives. Ethics, things we stumble across, shared values, tap out the rhythm, making way for new beginnings, values, order, so sublime. Ideas gleaned from dreams, exceptional circumstances, beggars on the streets, waving, always waving. Conversations with the past, challenging the here and now, digging through the photographs, shocked by what has changed. Who is that? Where is that? Is that me? Did I wear that? Heavens above, spare me. What a thought. What will they think? Can't escape the clutches of a lost horizon. Replace past years with the now. Wander through my youth with circumspection, aiming higher than I ever did before. That's it.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, it's good, that one. It's amazing what memories come up from, old photographs and bits and pieces,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Funnily enough, the next one I've got is about remembering, because this is a piece I wrote about Remembrance Day. I did it last year actually, but you're gonna get it again. And it starts with a quote from that well-known war poet, Private Baldrick. And and coincidentally, the last line includes the name of this World War One film that I've got a small part in that they're making here in Carlisle. And in a couple of weeks, I have to shave the bottom half of my beard off. I've got to have just the tash to play this World War One officer. So yeah, that's something to look forward to, I suppose. Here we go. We remember them. Boom, 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 roared the guns. Giant cannons, mechanical killing machines, cavalry chargers and foot soldiers bogged down in the putrid mud and the stench of a new kind of warfare, fought from dugouts to barbed wire, holes in the ground, a reinforced trench. 19th century strategies played out by the top brass. Tommy and Jerry led to their fate. Send 3 and 4pence were going to a dance. Slaughter en masse. Uniforms of brown, khaki, grey and blue, stained with the same dark red blood bleeding through. A landscape scarred and potholed. A nightmarish depiction of hell. A hell on earth. Young men laid down their lives, so liberty and freedom survives. Winds of change through fields of green and crimson will blow, where, years later, a sacrifice is remembered in those fields where poppies grow. There you are. Thank you. All right. If we have one more quick loop round, does that sound okay? And Janetto, do you have another one for us?
Yeah, that was poignant, and I loved the Baldrick impersonation. That actually got his
Thank
voice
you.
down too. But yeah, very moving, very poignant. And I indulge in 2 little haiku.
Please.
And they're always little. The first one I put together on World Oceans Day, and it's the sea's oxygen, every other breath we take, taken for granted. And then the other one, I can't find it, but I think I can remember it. It was inspired by Remembrance Day a couple of years ago. A silent standstill, how easily we forget after 1 minute. What's that?
That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. They were powerful as well. I mean, it's always amazing how you can distill such a powerful sentiment down to just the 17 syllables. Amazing. That's excellent. Roz, do you have another one?
Well, you can have as many as you want. I'm just trying to find one that might be worth reading. The one I did with the haikus, I come across that the other day somewhere. Have I read? Probably have read that.
Or read it again. We'll...
I'll tell you what, I'll just do. I'm hopeless, I know.
No. You're just a tease, that's what you are.
I'll read you this because I've only ever read it once at what's the place? Wild Zucchinis, that's the place. It's called Monday Blues. I hear the water rushing, it's gushing, then it stops abruptly. before the sound of swashing, swishing and galoshing, then it drains away. But now it starts to trickle. It's fickle. I hear the water rushing. It's gushing. Then it stops abruptly before the sound of swashing, swishing and galoshing. Then it drains away. Now there's an awful din. Everything's shaking. I hear the water rushing. It's gushing. Then it stops abruptly before the sound of swashing, swishing and galoshing. Then it drains away. Now there's a worse din. My whole floor is shaking. I can't hear the sound of swashing, swishing or galoshing. It's finally finished washing. And that's that. If you could hear my machine, you'd have an idea.
Brilliant. Thank you, Roz. Another insight into your world. Lovely. And Kevin.
It's not. I think I read this one fairly recently, but there's always someone who hasn't heard it. It's called Retired. Not very long. Anyway, Retired. Eric woke in a panic. Late, late, late. It wasn't true. Never once late in 30 years. Afternoon, stroll in the park, lovely day. Clock struck. Panic. Take it easy now. Long shadows. Long shadows of a train, moving slowly to the sidings, a signal, a moaning whistle. Never late, not once in 30 years. The factory gate now locked, chained and abandoned, weeds and rusty metal. Time to go home. Watch TV. Never missed a day. Past the hospital. I know it so well. Endless visits. Nearest and dearest. Friends and neighbours. Home and silence. Beans on toast. Tea and biscuits. News at 10. Bed. Night sweats. Early start. Still dark. Never late. Never missed a day. No alarm. Nothing real. Just a thought. Breaking day. Gates are locked. Clock strikes. Never late. Never missed a day. That's it.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you. I've got one more I can quickly go through and then we'll wrap things up. But thank you very much. It's been a great night. This is called the Digital Prometheus, and it's another environmentally friendly one. Go paperless. Save the trees. Data lives in clouds of invisibilities. Work from home. Cut out transportation. Traverse the information highway. Join the digital integration of all our lives. Little icons show who cares, checking out all our socials, likes, retweets and shares. The internet is not something we can see, but it lives on servers, vast forests of computer terminals, processors, digital farmers. Mining for Bitcoin becomes a mission for some, tying up computer power for months and years across billions of hours. These all require electricity to keep the World Wide Web alive. Recent blackouts show how dependent we have become. Without it, could we survive? But can we, or will we forsake this real world for our digital second life. Stop streaming. Stop tweeting. Stop flights. Stop petrol and diesel. Stop eating meat. Stop having too many kids. Stop thinking it won't affect me. It will. And you can't just switch it all off and back on again. And there you are. The digital Prometheus. Thank you very much. Cool. It's been a really lovely night. Thank you all for tuning in. Give yourselves a round of applause, everyone who read and listened. And everyone who left and everyone who stayed to the end. And yeah. Really good to see you guys.
Very good. Very good.
See everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Probably see you. There's a live speakeasy at the Source next week. And then, well, there'll be Poets Out Loud
Poets Out Loud
on the 8th.
of December.
And then we've got John Hegley on the 9th. So we'll see you at one of those if.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting my chairs away, Phil. It was really, really helpful.
No, it's great. You're welcome. Anytime you need chairs taken away, I'm able to help. So yeah. Yeah.
I didn't really say thank you. I just sort of looked at you like, oh.
That's fine. You're very welcome. Okay, well, get home safe, everybody, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.